Welcome everybody to the SIG release 1.8 Kubernetes Burndown meeting. I am the SIG team leader, Jay Singer-DeMars, and we're going to go through the agenda, which is available all the time at http://bit.ly/Kates18 release. So let's go ahead and dig in. So the timeline for today, just a quick update for those who might have somehow missed it. We are in an extended code freeze. The plan was to have a very aggressive agenda per day this week to make that freeze worth it and actionable so that we weren't just hoping that everything got better. And a lot of people are doing things behind the scenes to make that a truth. And hopefully we'll get to acknowledge some of that hard work that's happening from everybody in SIG testing and DIMS and everybody who's pitching in. Thank you so much. It's been incredibly strong group effort. So hopefully that will be evidenced by some of the metrics we'll go through. So the goal for today was to rerun testing battery with merge fixes. Essentially, we're trying to get strong signal out of the tests, eliminate infrastructure failures and whatnot. We'll have Eric give us an update on that in a bit. We also will need an update on the downgrade tests, which I believe hopefully we'll have some more information on today. And lastly, I had a goal in here, which I considered last week when I made it to be somewhat aspirational, which was to lower issue count under 30 today. I'm really excited about that. We'll get into that in a minute. Next week, Monday, we're going to finalize release notes, make sure that draft is ready to merge. Marketing drafts will hopefully be ready for review, and that's looking pretty solid right now, thanks to the work that Aparna, Ihor, and others are doing. Then Tuesday, finalize marketing. Tuesday, I also want to have a preliminary go, no-go discussion based on whatever signal we have. And lastly, Wednesday, ideally, we'll have the release 1.8 ship on time. We'll also have an all-day drop-in release room at the Zoom you are at now, which incidentally, the Zoom meeting room number is my phone number if you ever need to reach me more directly. So metrics review, all of the indicators are trending down, which is great. Open issues, we're at 10 in the milestone. That's probably changing rapidly because there's a lot of things, last minute things getting in and out, but I think we can confidently say that we've dropped the issue count a lot. As a somewhat of an aside and philosophical discussion around that, my personal strategy for things that are being moved out of the 1.8 milestone is to move them into the 1.9 with the hopes that that is not abandoned work, that it's simply work that was not done on time. And so what I would like to do is have SIGs either commit to that work and say, yes, we want to continue those things in 1.9, or if there isn't a targeted release for it, they could put it potentially in the next milestone category, but I would actually rather it just get stored as no milestone or closed altogether and then reopen when it's actionable. The idea hopefully is that we're going to start making milestones meaningful, and work that gets into a milestone early in the release is something that we can track throughout the life cycle of the release and have much better feeling about when things are ready at the end. This will probably tie into the greater meta discussion about product management and how that feeds into the RFC process that Caleb is getting ratified through SIG architecture. There's more of that. I'll post more as we move forward, but right now that's kind of an aside. But bottom line is, if it got moved out of the 1.8 milestone by myself and moved into 1.9, it also is giving a non-blocking label as well to make sure that we have more ways to slice and dice that data. Any questions thus far about that? Okay. Eric, did you have something? No, okay. So metrics all looking good. Let me share my screen just so that we can share this together on the recording. Oh, curses. Why does it do that? Sorry, guys. Someday I'll figure out how Zoom works and why it doesn't share across multiple screens. Okay, I assume that's working. So yeah, so basically metrics view looks good. Open PRs pretty slim right now. There's 18, so we should probably just keep a really close eye on those. 2 of those are marked as important soon, and those are linked in the document if you want to go through those. Submit queue, 3 failing tests currently, or at least this morning when I looked. The various dashboards have a fair amount of failing tests as well, so upgrade tests, maybe you're not looking so keen. We'll have an update again in moments. We did have an exception request come in. Technically, this is one that was already SIG approved, and being as the DMARC for moving forward on these is SIG driven, it had already had the 1.9 milestone. I didn't fight it. If you feel strongly that this is something that should have not gone in, to make a comment on the pull request, even though it's merged. If it poses a risk, we'll revert it. But assuming based on the input that we got thus far, it looks like it was a solid and supported change. That was the only exception request this week. If you want to look at the breakdown of issues by SIG, these all look really good. These seem manageable. So if you are in one of these SIGs or you have contacts into these SIGs, let's make sure that these are getting worked. Some of these, for example, the one in SIG cluster lifecycle is actually a tracking issue for the work being done on kubeADM. So that's actually not necessarily a blocker, but it could represent blockers that come up through that. So we need to keep an eye on that because those are separate. Those are issues tracked in a separate repo. Branch health, branch updates. There's really not much to say there right now. We're still working on building signal. Build failures, same deal. Test failure, triage, resolution updates. So this sort of falls into Eric's camp and probably in some way the other Eric and Sen.
Yeah, so we now have a fancy new project for GitHub, a GitHub project that you can view all of the existing tests or test failures. We had one new issue today, but largely things are trending down. So we only have sort of a couple identified ones, and then we've been waiting for the upgrade tests to confirm that a few of the fixes that did go in actually fixed the issue. So things are looking good. One good small comment I noticed is that the downgrade tests that we added, the downgrade test suites are totally green. So congratulations to whoever put that together. It's been awesome. Upgrade tests had a little bit of a hiccup, but I guess we'll get into that with test infra updates.
Hey, Eric, can we close out the issue for the downgrade tests? I guess so. I just noticed that the downgrade was green this morning. So if somebody is owning that or put that together, that they would probably be a more appropriate person. But otherwise, yeah, I think that we're looking good.
I think we should wait till the 1.8 downgrade suites exist before we close it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll put the 1.8. I was not aware of like the downgrade issue. Can someone CC me on the issue? I put up the downgrade job, but I was not aware of that issue.
Yeah, it is actually SIG release, I believe. It's the one SIG release.
I threw it in the chat, 52593. Yeah.
So, okay, yeah, so if we can just make sure that that's, that it gets done with the 1.8, that would be great. Okay, fantastic. Any other stuff to say about this is sort of, just to be clear, this is our sort of testing stand-up part of this meeting. So if there's anything, Eric Feda or anybody else wants to add anything, then now's the time to do that. Okay, cool. Excellent.
One sec. Yeah, I had something.
Okay.
The one thing that I was worried about was what Sham was working on yesterday, the API call latencies.
Oh, yeah.
That one. And the other one that got reopened just now or this morning was the E2E test failure.
If you could link those in the document, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So we can keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, the one, Xian, that one scares me because I'm concerned that there's actually a legit reason for that being a regression. That it might not be a true regression, that it's actually a result of increased complexity in the call makeup or something like that. That's worrisome. Because if that breaks the SLOs and it's truly the result of increased complexity, then we have a relatively difficult choice that we're going to have to make with some serious implications for the community. So we'll have to escalate that if we need to. Okay, test infra updates. Oh my gosh, who poopa green? Because you just made my day on this. If that's really true.
That was me. But
Yay.
I'll let Sen change that if he wants to.
Okay. All right, Sen, you got it.
So yeah, Jenkins was forked yesterday, as of yesterday morning, because one of our maintenance job is like queued up and overrun because it does not have a timeout, and that caused us like Jenkins VM to run out of disk. After we fixed that issue, Jenkins looks healthy. Things after yesterday morning, and we've been merging things, like testing things fine.
Hey, Sen, can you move closer to the mic? It's a little hard to hear you, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah, so Jenkins has been healthy as of like since last morning. After we fixed the maintenance job on Jenkins, which now we clean up junks on Jenkins VM. And we moved a couple non-blocking pre-submit jobs from out of Jenkins, not out of Jenkins, but made them manually trigger, not always run, to alleviate some Jenkins burden. And we are starting migrating pre-submit from Jenkins to Prow. One of the job we did yesterday was the GC GPU job. Now that job is running on Prow instead of Jenkins now, and looks pretty green. Yeah, I think the ultimate goal is still to kill Jenkins before 1.9.
Yep, we'll say it was Sen in the ballroom with the lead pipe that killed Jenkins. Right, cool. Well, this is really exciting. Thank you so much for the hard work on this, and we're all going to sing a song when Jenkins is no more. So, any other updates on this test infra stuff before we move on?
Oh yeah, someone added a good point. Currently, the downgrade test is green, but I'm only running parallel test on the downgrade jobs. I will add a one with the full suite, including all the zero and slow and disruptive tests, and see how that will look like.
When, not to be pushy about it, but when can we expect that that work to be done? Do you have any idea?
I'll put up today, right after this meeting, probably.
Okay.
I'm putting up the parallel job. I just want to make that green before we run the full suite, which can took 15 hours.
Yeah. Okay, so we should have some data before tomorrow's meeting about that. Cool, that's fantastic. All right, great. Any other last things here before we move on?
As we discussed at SIG testing yesterday, Jace, you got your wish for a daily testing meeting. This isn't exactly the new normal, but while we're in Burndown and while test infra is a thing of great attention, Eric Veda invited the SIG testing Google group to this meeting if you want to attend and see sort of what's going on for the day, what's being worked on.
It was awesome. Appreciate that.
Everything in this doc, they said they would do it yesterday, and then they did it, and now it's done, and things are green, and it's great.
Yeah, seriously. Oh my gosh, best team ever. Okay, cool. So moving on, briefly, documentation and marketing. We had a meeting this morning with CNCF to talk about the blog post and all the marketing activities. I thought it was an interesting meeting. It's interesting to see PM's take on what the themes are, because I feel a little bit like they're sort of reading the tea leaves to figure that out, because there weren't really released themes, but I'm actually pretty happy with the things that came out of that meeting. And one of the things I think we'll see as a way of describing this release is, instead of going for feature breadth that we've really tried to do before, I think we're going for feature depth. And that's a sign of a maturing Kubernetes that's going to be really good for the community. Another big thing is that the governance structure around SIGs and how features get done, and if you want to contribute aligning with the SIG, I think that's going to become much more transparent this release, which is a huge improvement and win for us. So hopefully the idea of SIGs and whatnot will become part and parcel with talking about Kubernetes and contributing in the future. So we'll see that emerge in 1.8. Woo. All docs PRs are in. All of my nagging and whining, cajoling seems to have paid off. So just getting a review on those. If anybody wants to pitch in on tech review of those, contact SIGDocs and jump in there. Any other stuff that we want to add there, Steve or other folks?
No, that's pretty much it. We have 14 PRs under review, and people are being fairly responsive, so I think it's going well.
Fantastic. That's great. Release note update. The draft is looking good, but we are still missing sign-off from the 5 SIGs mentioned there: API machinery, apps, federation, node, and scalability. I know there's some text in there from some of these SIGs, so not sure if that was just a X in the box miss, or if there's actually more to add. But if somebody could volunteer to follow up with each of these SIGs to ask them and finalize that would be a godsend for me, because I am oversubscribed at the moment, so that's something that I don't have time to do.
We can volunteer. Radhika I was talking with her this morning about it, so she's on it with Jennifer.
Perfect.
She's a bit delayed. Jennifer's a bit delayed because of the Heptio get together.
Yep.
Yeah. And I did poke SIGNode.
Okay, great, fantastic. Yeah, and I mean that at the end of the day, we're probably just going to assume that the X just didn't get put in there, and that's not the end of the world. But I just definitely don't want to miss important stuff that needs to go in. So, and certainly the SIG level themes have been really enlightening as well. Okay, so that is the end of the planned agenda. Is there any announcements or open mic that we need to have now? If so, please speak up. Cool. Okay. Well, I thank you all for your time. Stay tuned to the SIG Release channel, and we will keep updates there rolling forward. I will see you in 23 hours and 50 or 35 minutes from now. Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.